Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the
Hello, Don. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Hollis,
Very good. All
do I,
right.
do I get
Hey,
to see you, or is this
no, just audio. Yeah, it's we have enough problems with just audio.
okay?
So what we're gonna do, sir? You sound good. The volume's great. I'm gonna mute your mic, and then I'm gonna finish the introduction of yourself. Okay?
Okay, do you
Thanks,
need
sir.
me to do anything on my
No,
end?
you just hang tight. Okay?
All right, we'll do.
Thanks, sir.
power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us every week. We have conversations with authors and small business owners. We have exciting lineup of guests who will take us on a literary journey like no other. Join us as we delve into the world of authors and small business owners from diverse backgrounds and cultures, each bringing their own unique perspective and voice to the table. From thrilling memoirs to captivating fiction and business startups, our guests will share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, offering us a glimpse into the rich tapestry of human experience. Immerse yourself in the magic of words and discovery as we explore the global literary landscape together. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up by the fire, and join us on this adventure of a lifetime.
Hello and welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. I am Hollis. Happy Thursday, everyone. I'm glad you're with us today. We have a wonderful guest waiting in the wings. Our guest is an author, educator. He writes fiction, nonfiction books for children, young adults, and adults, including he is a Canadian best-selling author. Let's welcome to our show our special guest today, Thursday, Mr. Don Sawyer.
Hollis,
All right. I said again, I'm so excited to have you here. You got through real well, and we thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, sir.
listen, it's like all small indie press authors so depend on people like you, people that get your name and your books out in front of potential readers. It's a jungle out there, Hollis.
Yeah, it is, and again, we love doing it, and we love the new people, the people who want to get their names out there,
Yeah,
because we feel like we're doing something, So we really
yeah.
love doing this ourselves. So
I
before we go with the questions, please tell us more about yourself and your latest book. I'm at your website, so you've written a lot of books. That's great. Tell us about yourself and your latest book.
Okay, well, I mean, some people describe themselves as, and I think it's probably more typical of writers who teach. I
Yeah.
consider myself an educator who writes, and so my writing has always kind of been on the side, thank God, because I certainly didn't want to have to live off of it. But having said that, I've had, I mean, who does? I've had considerable success with my writing in a limited way, but I've been very, very pleased because I think most writers don't, I hope anyway, write for the money. I hope they write because they have a story they want to tell, or they have a message that they want to get out in front of people to consider and to think about. And so my writing has tended to come out of my experiences, many of which, since I'm a professional educator, retired, revolve around educational experiences in the classroom. My first book was Tomorrow is School, and I'm sick to the heart thinking about it, which was a nonfiction account of our first teaching experiences in 1970-72 in a remote outport community in rural Newfoundland. And that came from this very intense, very seminal experience in my life. And but also there was so much I wanted to share about the beauty and the resilience of this community and this culture and these people, that I had to write it down. And so that was that kind of, and I mean, a friend of mine said, well, you expect to get published because you got published with your first book. And he's right in some ways. I was very fortunate. Douglas and McIntyre picked it up, and that became a bestseller, as you mentioned, mainly because it was used in teacher training programs across Canada. And so that was completely unexpected, and quite gratifying. And so I guess it kind of encouraged me to continue writing. And I've had, as I say, really, really good luck with my books, and I've enjoyed writing them. And so much enjoyed interacting with readers. Ultimately, writing's a pretty lonely job. You're sitting up here with your computer and wondering, and when somebody actually writes you, or like calls you and says, hey, I'd like to talk. Really? You really want to talk to me?
Yeah.
we're a pretty needy bunch, as
Right. Hey, Don, you know what? You mentioned a few tips. That's great because when you were talking, something came to my mind. Talk to the authors out there. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay excited about writing? And kind of share a tip with new people because, like you said, a lot of us aren't going to make a lot of money doing what we do, but you have obviously have the passion.
yeah.
What, Don?
That's interesting. I had another interview, and they said, what's the most important? What it said? They didn't say skill. The most important factor in being a successful writer. Well, first of all, you got to define successful, but we'll put
Yeah,
that one to the side. And I said passion.
yeah,
I said, you have to want to tell this story very badly. You have to feel it. It's a necessity, and it all of my stories, well, with a few exceptions, have been driven by some experience that has mobilized me at a moral level, an ethical level, a political level. Like the other best-selling Canadian book was Tomorrow at School. I'm sorry, Where the Rivers Meet, and
yeah.
that was a young adult novel, and it was based on our experiences teaching in the predominantly First Nations community of Lytton, BC, which unfortunately burned down a few summers ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, the experiences we had working with Native students and the dealing every day with the institutional racism and the effects of colonialism really affected us, my wife and I. And so I felt the best way to capture that was to write it as a young adult novel where passion, anger, where is can be really vented, and I think young people pick up on that because that's how they feel.
Yeah.
So I wrote that book and was very gratified that it was used predominantly in Native classrooms right across Canada, with in high schools and adult programs. So it's that passion that you want to say something, you want to get it out. Otherwise, I mean, I was teaching full time, or I worked in Africa for 10 years as well.
Mm,
So
wow.
I did a lot of different things. So you kind of had to find time to write when you could. When my kids were young, I would read them a story, put them to bed 9:30, and then geez, I'd have to write for like 2 hours and get up
Mm,
at 8 the next morning and go teach. And so you had to there's something that had to motivate you.
yeah.
And as I say, I was smart enough to know that nor did I even care that the financial aspect was not, that was not going to be the payoff. The payoff for me was going to be the interaction I had with my readers and the gratification I felt in actually achieving something, writing something. And that goes back to that comment about what's a successful writer.
Yeah.
I mean, it really varies. If you're defining yourself a successful writer only if you're going to be a bestseller, well, good luck. But like a friend of mine, she does really lovely little children's books, but she self publishes them, about 8 or 10 of them, and gives them to her nephews and
Yeah.
and nieces, and she's a successful writer. So I think that definition of success is so critical. But for me, I guess what's really driven me forward has been that passion to share a story or to make a point.
Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's go to your newest book now.
Okay.
Can you share with us some inspiration behind your new book and what prompted you to explore themes of adventure,
Yeah.
love, empathy, and transformation in the novel? So let's kind of bring us to that new book. Now, get us motivated now
Okay.
to get that newest book. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I appreciate, when you wrote, you obviously grasped the idea behind it. And it's
Yeah.
funny, I don't think some people bought it to look at the cover. But in this case, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly, but it's an odd book in the sense that it's completely different from anything I've done before. It's an urban fantasy. And much of it is set in a mythical um, a place called the Market, which, believe it or not, there really was a subway station started in the 1880s in New York City that was abandoned. And one of the things that was done, they built this enormous underground station Of course, that was be that was how they were going to raise money for the rest of it. But when there was a collapse in the 1880s, it was abandoned.